My name is Chloe, and I'm 45 years old. I have a teenage daughter in high school and a son in middle school, whom I raise with my husband Henry. When we first got married, we lived in an apartment. However, after our daughter was born, my in-laws insisted that we needed a larger home to raise children properly. Because of this, we moved in with them. While I wouldn't say my relationship with them was terrible, it wasn't exactly warm either. They always took Henry's side, no matter the situation. Even when he was clearly in the wrong, they would place the blame on me. My husband, in turn, depended on them excessively, making life under the same roof far from comfortable. When our daughter was born, instead of celebrating her arrival, my in-laws made insensitive remarks. "Oh, a girl? Well, she's cute, but next time try for a boy, and hair." They offered no support during my exhausting postpartum recovery, physically or emotionally. I confided in Henry about their comments. "Well, they're not wrong. Only a son can continue the family line, so be your best next time," he said casually. Was he serious? Did he have any idea how difficult childbirth was? I wasn't about to bring another child into the world alone. He needed to put in some effort too. My frustration toward him only grew. Years later, we finally had a son. However, something about my husband's reaction unsettled me. "He doesn't really look like me, does he?" Henry muttered, concerned. "If anything, he takes after Chloe," my mother-in-law confirmed, fueling his worries. Because our baby boy didn't resemble my husband, neither Henry nor his mother showed him much affection. Meanwhile, my husband's younger sister had 2 sons of her own, and my in-laws adored them. They treated my sister-in-law's children like the real heirs of the family, while practically ignoring ours. Even at a young age, my children could sense the difference. Whenever my sister-in-law's family visited, my son and daughter would watch from the sidelines, wearing expressions of quiet sadness. To spare them from feeling excluded, I made a habit of taking them out whenever my in-laws' favored grandchildren were around. But neither Henry nor his parents made any effort to include our kids. Despite the hardships, we made it through. My daughter is now in high school, my son in middle school. Looking back, maybe raising them in a spacious house had its benefits, or maybe I was just convincing myself of that. Then, one evening, Henry came home from work, his face unusually serious. "We need to talk," he said. "What's wrong?" I asked, sitting across from him. After an awkward pause, he finally spoke. "I want a divorce." His words hit me like a ton of bricks. "I've endured this for long enough. Please let me go," he added. "Let you go? As if you're the one suffering here." His words infuriated me. I struggled to find the right response. "Where is this coming from? We've never even discussed this before," I said. "I've fallen in love with someone else," he admitted. "I want to be happy with her. You and the kids are in the way." His shamelessness stunned me. I had noticed him coming home late recently, but I never imagined he'd be cheating, especially at our age. "So you've been having an affair?" I asked. "It's not an affair." "This is real love," he replied, twisting his betrayal into something noble. "Call it what you want. Cheating is cheating." It was clear he had completely checked out of his responsibilities as a husband and father. There was no point in arguing with him. The kids were older now, and as long as I received child support, we'd manage. So, I made up my mind. "Fine. I'll agree to the divorce," I said firmly. "But I'll take full custody of the children. If we leave, will that satisfy you?" To my surprise, Henry shook his head. "No, you don't need to leave." "I'll go instead," he said. His words caught me off guard. "What? This is your parents' house. Why would you be the one to leave?" I asked. Henry simply smiled, as if he were doing me a favor. "It'll be more convenient for you. The kids won't have to change schools and you'll still have a place to live," he explained. I frowned. "I don't understand. Why are you the one leaving?" Henry leaned back smugly. "Mom and Dad wouldn't want to be separated from their grandchildren, right? And you've already settled into this house. Do you really want to be a single mother struggling in a tiny apartment?" "Well, I started, but he cut me off. Besides, I want to live with her, just the 2 of us." There it was, his real reason. He wanted to move out to be with his mistress. How ridiculous. "Fine. If you're leaving, I have no problem with that," I said. "But I'm not staying here either. There's no reason for me to remain in your parents' house after we divorce." Suddenly, Henry's expression changed. "No, that won't work," he blurted out. I raised an eyebrow. Why not? My parents are getting older. What if something happens to them? You need to stay and take care of them, he insisted. Ah, so that was it. He wanted to dump his responsibilities onto me while he enjoyed his new life. Absolutely not. Wait, what? You expect me to care for your parents after our divorce? I scoffed. We've been married nearly 20 years. They're like your own parents. Are you just going to abandon them? He argued. Abandon them? I repeated, stunned by his audacity. And think about the kids. Separating them from their grandparents would be cruel. Do you really want to take on raising 2 kids alone? He continued. I took a deep breath. I'll manage. Besides, if I stay, I'd be saving on rent and living expenses, I pointed out. Exactly. Henry beamed. You'll stay here with the kids and my parents, and I'll be with my girlfriend. It's the perfect arrangement. Unbelievable. He actually thought he was being generous. Only in his twisted fantasy world did this make sense. What a joke. The truth was, my in-laws had never shown much love for our children. They didn't care about family, only about keeping me there as a convenient caregiver. Henry was delusional if he thought I'd agree to such a selfish deal. No way. I stood my ground, looking Henry straight in the eye. I'm leaving this house with my children, just the 3 of us, I declared firmly. But despite my unwavering stance, my husband wasn't backing down. If you walk out, don't expect a single penny from me. You'll be on your own, Henry threatened. The conversation was going nowhere. Just then, perhaps drawn by the sound of our heated exchange, my in-laws entered the living room. Now, both of you, let's not get carried away, my father-in-law said, trying to diffuse the situation with his usual nonchalance. But I had no intention of letting this go. I turned to them and spoke without hesitation. Father-in-law, mother-in-law, Henry has been having an affair. He wants a divorce so he can be with his mistress, I stated bluntly. Henry quickly tried to smooth things over. But don't worry, even if I leave, Chloe and the kids will stay here. Chloe will also look after you both, he added, as if that would somehow fix everything. For years my in-laws had always taken Henry's side, but this time there was no denying who was at fault. Surely they would finally reprimand him. Or so I thought. Instead, their response left me stunned. I see, my mother-in-law said indifferently. In that case, we'll be relying on you. My father-in-law nodded in agreement. That's right, Chloe, we'll be counting on you from now on, he added casually. What kind of twisted logic was this? Did they seriously believe I would stay and care for them after their son betrayed me? I had reached my limit. Every ounce of frustration I had bottled up over the years finally exploded. Enough is enough. I'm taking my children and leaving. I will not stay here, and I will not be responsible for either of you, I declared. My words sent my in-laws into a fury. How dare you? After everything we've done for you, this is how you repay us? My mother-in-law snapped. That's right, my father-in-law chimed in. A daughter-in-law's duty is to care for her husband's parents. Henry, frustrated by my defiance, stepped in again. Don't be ridiculous, Chloe. I already told you, if you leave, you get nothing. It's your problem. Do whatever you want, he warned. But my decision was final. Without another word, I turned and left the room. I decided I would tell my children everything tomorrow. With that thought in mind, I went to bed. The next morning, I invited my daughter and son out for breakfast at a restaurant. They had the day off from school, so we left early. It had been a while since we'd gone out as just the 3 of us, and the kids were excited. I want this one. Let's order a few things and share. Their bright smiles warmed my heart. Once we placed our orders, I took a deep breath and looked at them seriously. Listen, there's something important I need to tell you, I began. Both of them immediately put down their phones and gave me their full attention. I think your father and I are going to get divorced, I said calmly. For a brief moment, they were surprised. But then my daughter nodded knowingly. It's Dad's fault, isn't it? She said with a small smile. Her reaction caught me off guard. I hadn't expected her to accept it so easily. My son followed up. It's not just Dad, right? Grandma and Grandpa are part of the problem too, he added. Tears welled in my eyes. My children had understood more than I ever realized. Gently, my daughter took my hand. Mom, it's okay, we're not little kids anymore. You can tell us everything, she reassured me. Their words gave me the courage to speak the full truth. Your father is having an affair. That's why he wants a divorce. He said I should stay in the house and take care of your grandparents, I explained. The kids immediately reacted. What? Why should you have to do that? This is insane. I already knew he was terrible, but this is a new low. Mom, don't even waste your energy arguing with him. We're with you no matter what. Everything will be fine, they assured me. At that moment, I realized just how much they had grown. Their unwavering support meant everything to me. When we returned home, my in-laws rushed over, looking worried. Oh, thank goodness. I thought Chloe had run off with the children. My mother-in-law exclaimed. Henry stood tall, glaring at us. Where were you? He demanded. Just out for breakfast, my daughter replied casually. Her relaxed attitude seemed to irritate him. His temper flared. That's no way to speak to your father, he barked. But my daughter didn't back down. You cheated and still call yourself a father. That's pathetic, she shot back. Henry's face twisted in anger, but he was at a loss for words. With everyone gathered, I calmly stated my decision. I've told the children everything. I'm divorcing their father, and we're leaving. My husband and in-laws erupted in outrage. You ungrateful woman. Abandoning us like this, how dare you? My mother-in-law shrieked. Fine. Leave if you want, but don't take the kids. My father-in-law roared. I met their furious glares with a steady gaze. The children have made their own choice. They're coming with me. My in-laws refused to believe it. What Mom said is true, my son confirmed. An unfaithful father and grandparents who blindly defend him. It's impossible to live with people like you, my daughter added coldly. Besides, none of you have ever cared about us. Don't act like a family now, my son finished. Their harsh words left my in-laws stunned, their faces pale with disbelief. They had never imagined their own grandchildren would turn against them. I took a deep breath and spoke my final words to them. That's how it is. Thank you for everything, but we're leaving. At last, my in-laws panicked. Wait, Chloe, this is too much. Who's going to take care of us? Who's going to handle the housework? My mother-in-law pleaded. My daughter scoffed. You couldn't even do basic chores and treated Mom terribly. I'll make sure I never become a mother-in-law like you. My son added, if we stay here, we'll turn into them. Let's not waste our energy. I'll start packing. Even my in-laws were left speechless. And Henry? His face was frozen in shock, a perfect picture of regret. Once the kids finished packing, the three of us left for my parents' house. Thanks, Mom. We finally got to say what we needed to. It felt good, they told me. Hearing those words, I knew I had made the right choice. After that, I hired a lawyer and secured child support. It was a challenging process, but I made sure we got what we deserved. As for Henry, his mistress dumped him and his dream of a new life crumbled. Now, he's stuck living with his parents, who have become outcasts in the neighborhood. Honestly, it's karma. The road ahead won't be easy, but with my children by my side, I know we'll be okay. From now on, I will bring happiness to these two, no matter what. That's a promise I've made in my heart. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Stay tuned.